Hello, everyone. My name is Ann Pentiak, and I'm with West Michigan Works. I am the Industry Council Lead for West Michigan Tech Talent, which is a collaborative between employers, education providers, economic, and workforce development experts in West Michigan. I want to welcome you all to the Fall 2020 Youth Employment Engagement Industry 101 session. Today, we'll be exploring careers in technology, followed up by a panel discussion with some great representatives from Atomic Object, Bistrom, and Spectrum Health. To kick us off, we'll be watching a quick video showcasing how computer science is changing the world in which we live.
I think 19th century was about the Industrial Revolution, about electricity, about disrupting the agricultural society and making it more advanced. The 20th century was about physics and engineering to do more things easier in our everyday life, from refrigerators to washing machines.
How convenient.
And the 21st century is definitely the digital age. It's the internet.
Even if you want to become a race car driver or play baseball or build a house, all of these things have been turned upside down by software.
The lettuce bot is a robot that can sense its environment. Every single hour, this lettuce bot is seeing 1.5 million plants, and it's taking individual action on those plants. We enable lettuce growers to have higher yields in their field by helping make it cheaper, by helping produce food in a more sustainable way. And that wasn't previously possible without computer science and technology.
I have a really fun job where we build Polyvore, which kind of combines all my favorite things, so programming as well as fashion and art and design and shopping. Half the products you use these days are software products that you play with on maybe your phone. And so if you want to build something cool, you need to know programming, right? And there's so many things that you can do with computer science. So if you just work backwards from the cool thing that you want to build and figure out what that is, a lot of times computer programming is part of that, right? So you should learn the skill.
It's really exciting right now. The technology that we're developing right now is going to be used by your doctor in the next decade. When you come into the office and you're sick, the doctor is going to be like, all right, spit in this cup. And I will put it into this magic machine, which is a sequencer. And in an hour, I can tell you what you have or what's wrong with you. So if we're looking for a new virus, for example, we'll download a database of all the viruses that are known, and we'll search for our sequence of interest against a whole database of all viruses. So you still need somebody to analyze the data. The computer is not smart enough yet.
Our software helps people save energy and thereby reduce their carbon emissions. To date, we've saved over 8 terawatt hours, which is the equivalent of about 1.1 million cars on the road.
When you're forecasting the wind, there's so many different parameters that go into it. It would be impossible for a human to sit down and do all those calculations. We need a computer model in order to forecast it.
I write software which scans images, looking for bad images that we know are illegal. I work very closely with organizations like the National Center for Missing Children. I know that the work that we've done has impacted the life of people. And I feel very strongly about it because there's a lot of social problems right now that could really leverage the use of technology. It's a lot about empowering the people who are there helping the world by giving them the tools to be able to do better. That's something that we can do right now, and the tools available are huge.
The merging of art and technology is getting more and more significant now because computers and software are such an integral part of our lives day to day. People are realizing that it can be quite creative to take this medium of computers and create incredible works of art.
In Finding Nemo, when Crush and Squirt and all the friends are flying through the East Australian Current, you're seeing images of water flowing by, you're seeing the colors on the back of the turtle, you're seeing the sides of the fish. All of those things are generated through math and computer programs that we write, that we then give to the artists, and they take that to create that final image and tweak it and make it look beautiful and look fun.
The crux of it is really about invention. It's about looking at the world and being dissatisfied with things and questioning everything.
I always felt like if I didn't learn how to program, it would be like not learning how to read. You know, the future would just be closed to me.
If you're in the coding profession, there's so many things that you can do, and you can pretty much pick and choose the course you want to be in.
I think that you can start something in your college dorm room, and you can have a set of people who haven't built a big company before come together and build something that 1 billion people use as part of their daily lives is just crazy to think about, right? It's humbling and it's amazing.
Really, it's about the chance to reinvent things and then see it out there in the world and see people using it and having fun or having a better life because of something that wasn't there before that you put in the world.
All right. What I love about this video is that it really captures just how diverse and dynamic the tech industry is. I know some of you may be thinking that a career in technology may not be a fit for you, but I would challenge you to consider all the different avenues demonstrated in the video of where tech can take you. I mean, there's something in the tech industry for everyone, whether you're hardcore into data or super creative. With a career in technology, there are opportunities to use what you're passionate about and translate that into a really fulfilling career. All right, poll time. I want to hear from all of you. So just a few questions. What is your favorite app? What's your favorite gaming system, if you use one? Do you have an Android or an iPhone? And how many hours a day do you think you're on your phone? All right. Did any of the poll responses surprise you? Did you know that on average, people spend approximately 10 hours a day with some form of technology? Since we're spending so much time with it, it's no surprise to see that it has a massive impact on our daily lives. Technology is everywhere, and so are tech jobs. With virtually everyone using computers, smartphones, tablets, other devices, the demand continues to rise for people who can answer user questions and make sure that everything is operating smoothly with all of those devices. Next, we're going to take a look at some of the main IT jobs that are out there. All right, so who does what in technology or in the tech industry? So we're going to highlight 5 occupations. However, this in no way encompasses all of the different jobs that are available out there. These are just some of the main ones. So we're going to look at IT support specialist, IT networking specialist, cybersecurity specialist, software and web developer, and data specialist. So let's break those occupations down a little bit. What do they mean? So IT support specialists, they install software, set up computer workspaces, and they tend to solve technical issues for people that come up on a day-to-day basis in an organization. You know, if your email's not working, you would contact IT support to help you through it. IT networking specialists, so they support the company's internal servers, including like your desktop computers and other devices that are connected on the network. So they make sure that all the computers are talking to each other the way they're supposed to, and that information is getting pulled from the right places. Software and web developers, so they like design and create applications, systems, websites that run on computers or on other devices like your smartphone. Data specialists, so they analyze data for many different end results, and then they communicate their findings to others in the organization. Cybersecurity specialists, they scope out vulnerabilities, detect cyber threats, and then they implement internal changes within an organization to protect them, to protect their data, their sensitive information. And I know you're looking at this list and you're thinking, oh goodness, I have to have some really technical skills to do all of these jobs. And some jobs do require a high level of technical skill, but not all of them. Some of the technical skills, companies are looking for include like information security, project management, help desk technical support, system analysis, and then like some programming. So having knowledge of different programming languages. But there are a ton of non-technical skills that companies also look for. And I hear from companies a lot that, they can teach people the technical side, but they can't teach people the soft skill or interpersonal skill side. And some of those skills are things like having a growth mindset. Are you willing to learn, eager to learn new skills? Can you problem solve? Can you take a problem and break it apart and think, okay, how can we solve this and come up with a creative solution? Stress management. Can you stay calm during stressful situations or in balancing challenging situations? Presentation. Can you present your work results? If you're working on a project, can you show a customer, what you worked on and explain to them in a way that they understand, what you did and how it will benefit them? Leadership. Can you communicate your ideas to other people and motivate them? Motivate them to work on that next project or go after their goals. And then mentoring. Can you provide guidance, provide wisdom to your peers, to help them with their projects or to help them further their career? Those are just a handful of the soft skills that employers look for in technology. All right, so I just want to give you a little snapshot of some of the hot jobs in West Michigan. And so some of these we've already kind of talked about, for example, like the computer user support specialists, developers, web developers, but there are a few other ones in here that we haven't really talked about yet, like graphic designers. For those of you who are super creative, you love to draw, graphic designers. So these all are hot jobs right here in West Michigan. Median hourly earnings, that's like the right of the middle of the road wages that folks earn in these different occupations. So, starting roughly around $19, $20 an hour, and then all the way up to $50 an hour. So, and that's just middle. So they could go way above or, a little below as well. But, just to show you that the wages in the tech industry are pretty high and, they can create opportunities for, security. It's a really great field to get into for job security because tech isn't going anywhere. The projected growth rate over the next 10 years, or in the next 5 years rather, we have some high growth here, especially in information security analysts, with more people working remotely, signing into their home networks to do work. The need for people who can secure those networks and secure those devices is super growing. And then developers. So, these are high annual openings as well as high projected growth rates. And I know it looks like a lot of these are, you have to have a bachelor's degree, but that's not the case for all of these occupations. Some of these you just need a certification. And we'll talk about education pathways on the next slide. All right, so how do I get there? What I like about this chart is that it showcases the different education levels. So whether it's high school diploma or equivalency, associate's, bachelor's, or postgraduate certificate. And then it shows the corresponding occupations you can jump into depending on your level of education. So for like programming and software development, if all you have is that high school diploma or equivalency, you can still be a junior developer. You can be a help desk technician. You can be a web administrator. So there are opportunities, as you can see, in every different level of education. And the different pathways into education pathways into a tech career, you know, there's self-study. There's so many resources out there, free resources to help you learn how to code, learn different programming languages, learn how to design, graphic design. I mean, there are so many. So a lot of people, they turn to those free resources to kind of get started and to see what they like about technology and coding. There are apprenticeship programs as well, which is a model where you are hired by a company and you are training on the job with an expert in, let's say, web development, but then you're also going to school to earn an industry recognized credential. So you get to learn and earn. So it's a great way to become an expert and learn and hone those skills quickly, because what you learn in the classroom, you get to go then apply on the job. And then, of course, there are the more traditional associates, bachelor's, and postgraduate certificates that you can explore as well. Once you go into one of those types of programs, obviously there are more occupations that open up, like technical writing, user interface or UX UI designers. And those folks, they design like the face and what the interface, what the user is seeing when they're using an app or visiting a website. I just wanted to kind of showcase here all of the different opportunities at each different education level. So you don't have to have a bachelor's to get started. Okay, let's chat. So I have a couple questions for you, and I'd like you all to throw your answers in the chat box. Do you think there are a lot of tech companies in West Michigan? And where do you think you have to go to get a job in, say, computing, development, or information security? All right. This may surprise you, but there are a ton of tech companies right here in West Michigan. This is just a handful that we work with that are strictly, tech companies. They focus on either refurbishing iPads and Chromebooks or developing websites for companies, managing their IT services, developing applications. So this is just a handful, but I mean, there's quite a few, and there are tons more. This may also surprise you. There's more. And these companies aren't traditionally tech companies, but they hire tech individuals and they have great tech teams or IT teams that help them run their business. And that's the great thing about IT and technology. You can find it in any industry, whether it's healthcare, whether it's food processing or manufacturing. There are opportunities across the board in any industry. And this is just a handful, but there are so many companies in all different industries. So if you're passionate about healthcare, but you also like technology, you could work at a hospital running a sequencing machine. If you are very creative and you're into videography, you could work at a production house. I mean, there's just no limits when it comes to the opportunities in technology. So now that we've talked about some of the great companies in our region, I want to introduce you to our panelists. So we have Brittany from Spectrum Health, Jessie from Atomic Object, and Shelby from Bistrom. And they're going to talk to you about their experiences in jumping into tech, education pathways. They're going to talk about some misconceptions about tech, and I really hope you enjoy. Thank you. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Pentiak with West Michigan Works. Welcome to the Industry 101 panel for the IT industry. We have a great group of panelists today that are going to provide their expertise, their insights, and their experiences, and hopefully provide a clearer picture of what it means to work in technology in West Michigan. So I want to thank everyone for joining me this morning. So to kick us off, we'll begin with some introductions. So introduce yourself, your company, and your job title. So we can go ahead and start with Shelby.
Perfect. Hello, my name is Shelby Teach, and I am a front-end developer at Bistrom, which is a web agency in Allendale, Michigan.
Great. And Brittany?
Hi, I'm Brittany Nielsen. I am currently a Scrum Master at Spectrum Health here in West Michigan as well, also with that development background in design as well.
Great. And then Jesse.
Hi, I'm Jesse Hill, and I work at Atomic Object. We're a software consultancy, so people bring us their big ideas, and we help turn that into working software. I joined as a software consultant and developer about 8 years ago, and I work as an accelerator manager now, which means that I do a lot of recruiting and interviewing for our development positions, and then I host like a 2-year program for folks who are joining us right out of college or from another industry to help people really get off to a good start.
Awesome. Thank you. So now we're going to dig a little bit more into some of the roles and your experiences. So if you can all kind of take a moment to share, like, how did you get to where you are now? And maybe we'll kind of go in the reverse, and we can start with Jesse.
I'd say that I'm open to adventure and often willing to put up my hand and volunteer for things that might be a little out of my comfort zone. And that's really been a big factor in how I've gotten to where I am. I went to school for computer science, took a semester off to go work in Arizona. Sounded like fun to get out of the winter. And that turned into an 8-month internship that turned into a full-time job after college, and stayed there for about 15 years. And then I found myself in Michigan working from home and wanted to be in an office again. So I looked around and found Atomic, and here I am today. So.
Great. All right, Brittany.
Yeah, so my experience has kind of been like a winding road through technology. I would say similar to Jesse. It's I'm a yes person. I like to say yes to adventures and new things. But I actually started out right out of high school having no idea what I wanted to do. So I actually got accepted into art school, and I was going for professional drawing. What the heck and Bob am I going to do with that? Realized that about a year into my program. And I quickly switched. So the closest to that kind of vibe was graphic design. It allowed me to enter that technology field. With that, when I started out, I was at MSU. I wanted to transfer to Davenport University. And they put me in a program, and I was so excited. And I get there, and I get into my first class, and it's a coding class. And I'm like, what? Okay, maybe I should talk to my advisor. What happened? Lo and behold, it actually was a web design and development program with a specialization, which means 2 courses in graphic design. I was a little bit over my head in that, but I fell in love. So I ended up graduating with a dual bachelor's, one in the web design and the other in computer programming. And then I kind of got an internship at Spectrum Health, starting as a developer. I transferred to being a UI UX designer, which is designing experiences for websites and apps for multiple years. Back to a developer, and now I'm more of in the coaching position of a Scrum Master. I'm also currently going for my master's degree in education at MSU, so I'm about halfway through, almost done, pushing through. So that's just hopefully to take me to my next adventure.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, now Shelby.
Yeah, so my background's a little bit different than Brittany and Jesse's, like being all over the place and kind of molding, finding out what they wanted to do with their career. I kind of knew I wanted to work with code ever since I was like 13, 14, I think. It was the year of MySpace. You have your MySpace layouts. And for those who don't know what MySpace is, it was like the OG Facebook. It was way more fun to work with. And I was wanting to figure out how to like change the colors, how to make my layout be like the best out of all my friends and stuff. And I was actually working with the HTML and CSS at that time. I didn't know it was coding. And I kind of stuck with it and said, you know, I really want to do something with this in my future. So I kept working with it all through high school, just kind of on the side for fun. And then went to Michigan State as well and got my bachelor's in media and information. I didn't do the computer science route. I did more the art so like the BA side of things. So I was taking those studio art classes, but I was also coding and doing independent studies and all of that too. So my coding route was more of the front end side of things rather than back end. And I've stuck with it ever since. And then after college, again, like Jesse, went down south to Texas, wanted to get out of the cold for a little bit, and started my career at a startup there. And my internship turned into a full-time front-end position. And then after that, I just kind of wanted to come back home, miss my family and friends. And I've now been with Bistrom for 5 years as a front-end developer. So.
Yeah, that's incredible. Thank you all for sharing your experiences. And I think that that's something that folks don't know is there are all different kinds of non-traditional pathways into a career in technology. You know, you can go the route of like computer science degree or the art programs or different, different pathways. So that's really cool. Thank you. So now we're going to get into some fun stuff. I want you all to kind of take a moment and talk about a few things. One, what's your favorite part about the job? And then the second is what's something really cool or interesting that you've worked on that you're really proud of? And we can hop back to Jesse.
Yeah, I think my favorite part about the job is being able to help people through difficult times. You know, often when people are joining us right out of college, there's some adjustment. It's very different working full-time in the professional world and being a student. And I think that some people have an easier time than others, but for everybody, there's some struggles along the way, and I really like being able to help people through that. I guess something I'm really proud of is I pitched an idea to our company to start a company conference where we get everybody together from all our offices for a weekend and talk about some of our favorite technology or maybe more company-specific stuff. It's also kind of like an opportunity for everyone to spend time together outside of the context of getting work done. And so we really enjoy that. It's a fun project to work on. And outside my normal day-to-day job as a developer, I get to be an event coordinator. So it's really fun. It's a cool thing that I've been able to add to the company culture.
Yeah, that's really great. The dynamic, right? Work environment, no 2 days looking the same and having, other projects to work on. That's really cool. Brittany.
Yeah, so I would say my favorite part about my role as a Scrum Master is kind of that combination of being a coach and then helping people when they need it. So I really invest in, obviously going as a master's in education, I really love teaching. I love helping people, investing in people, and that's something that I get to do every day while working for an organization whose sole mission is to improve people's lives as a medical facility. So it's a huge, exciting opportunity for me. I would say the most exciting thing about my current role is, along with all the other job titles that I've been doing and I have such an opportunity to engage in the community. So I'm involved in boards and volunteering and bringing people in from my departments and people that I normally don't talk to get them involved in teaching students, teaching about IT. It's something I'm really passionate about and continuing to look forward to do in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Inspiring that next generation of talent. And, technology is for everyone, whether you're just a casual user or you're doing it in your full-time job. Absolutely. All right, Shelby.
Yeah, so kind of along the lines with them as well. My favorite thing about my job is just the creative aspect of everything. I can really do anything that I want to, in the sense of I am certified as a front-end developer, but recently I've been showing interest in design work, and my company is very open about changing your path and not really being siloed into what your job title is, but really just growing in tech as a whole and in the industry. So I've been working with design stuff, with my coding. As well as Brittany, I'm teaching as well as being taught by my employees as well, or employers with me. And we all work together, and there's really no hierarchy of people in our team. We're all together and we all bring different parts to the team that just kind of works. And as well as Brittany, the community aspect is huge, giving the community resources and the knowledge of knowing that technology is such an awesome field to be a part of. And also teaching Bistrom Academy, which is a coding class that we have at Bistrom that I'm actually a teacher for. So I teach a coding camp to kids on the side of my job as well. So big idea of just being able to take your career where you want and having your employer not really silo you into one little thing or like breaking the glass wall, or the glass ceiling of getting as far as you want to go in tech. So
very cool. So, what I'm hearing is there are a lot of different avenues with a career in technology. There's, the creative, there's event coordination and planning and project teams. Are all jobs in the tech field, are they all coding, or are there other kinds of jobs out there? Why don't we hop over to Brittany? What do you think?
Yeah. So it's so funny. So I always tell students, and really anybody who's new to technology, wants to get involved, anything you want to do, you can find a role in technology. I'm going to be honest. Anything that you believe in or who you are as a trait, there's a corresponding job for you waiting in technology. You just got to find it. You got to find out where it is and how to get there. So by no means, I will say I also believed that computer programming and science, that the only thing you can be is a developer. And I was a developer, so I know. And then I quickly found out, hey, that's not it. So it was perfect for me as somebody who liked to talk to people, who liked to go out and explore new ideas. Hey, I transitioned to someplace else in that IT world that fit me better. So definitely.
Yeah, and Jesse, what are your thoughts on those are there other kinds of jobs? What other kind of opportunities exist in the tech field?
I think a solid base in technology can take you in any number of ways. It's really kind of limitless where you can go. At Atomic in particular, we have developers go into delivery lead roles where they're really focused on the client relationship and the big picture of what we're building and why. We have folks go into managing partner roles where they're running the whole office and really working with our clients to sign contracts and get work in the door. Both of our CEOs were former developers, so that's an option too. And we mostly have folks working on product teams, building software, but we also have a lot of roles in our company where people are supporting those teams and making sure that they have what they need to work effectively. So developers often find themselves in unique roles like mine, where I'm not really doing development day to day, but I'm making sure that we have good folks on the team to do that work and that they're learning and growing and feeling connected.
Yeah, that's great. And at Bistrom, I know that you have a number of different roles. Do you want to expand upon that a little bit, Shelby?
Yeah, so us being a agency, so we work with clients that we make a full website from the ground up for them. So we not only have developers, we have marketing, we have IT, QA, sales, pretty much anything that you can get a degree for, you can turn it into tech, which is kind of cool. And another thing I really like about Bistrom too is, yes, we have all these different roles that aren't necessarily coding, but being there, if you see a hole somewhere and need to get it filled, you can also make a position as well for yourself, so you don't really need that title. So that way you can wear many hats as a coder. Like I said, I do design or marketing if they want to get into coding, or if sales wants to learn more about IT. We're all kind of all over the place. So you don't necessarily have to even touch a line of code to be in technology, which is really awesome.
That being said, coding is a really fun job.
Yes, absolutely. Not pushing away from coding at all. I mean, that's my true passion. Yeah. And it all comes down to where your passion is, right? Like these kids are taking our coding classes and I'm very passionate about teaching it, but they might find they don't love it as much as the kid next to them learning about it. That doesn't mean that tech isn't right for them. That just means they need to go down a different path.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. I mean, coding is a big part of it. And yes, it can be very fun. And there's a wealth of resources out there if people want to, get their feet wet and try some coding just to see. But exactly. That doesn't necessarily mean, you're coding in an office all day, day in and day out. There's all different kinds of dynamic occupations, jobs to be had. So along that same vein, when someone is considering a career in technology, what are some really important things that they should consider? And I'll toss this one over to Brittany.
So I guess the biggest thing about technology, and one of the things I love about technology, is it's ever changing. So the thing about technology is there's always something new to learn. So what I always encourage, especially in that recruiting type role on our end, is if you have a passion to learn, if you are a good human being, I can teach you the technical things. Like that is kind of the model that I live by. Obviously, there are some technical roles that's not applicable to. You have to have those certs, you have to have the experience. But just starting out, there's a lot of opportunity there. So that would be my advice is, hey, approach it with an open mindset, wanting to learn, and we can get you to where you want to go.
Definitely. Jessie, thoughts?
My thought is that there are really a lot of different types of roles and a lot of different types of cultures, different types of organizations. So, what seems to be most popular in the market, if it doesn't appeal to you, like do what does. You can probably find a good fit going after the things you really enjoy. There's probably a company out there doing that kind of thing and providing jobs in that area. And every tech job is different and every company is looking for different kinds of resumes. So, I would say not to feel that you have to do what's popular or what's shiny at the moment. If it doesn't appeal to you, do what you like, and there's probably a role for that somewhere.
Yeah, that's great advice. Shelby.
Yeah, piggybacking off of both of those, pretty much it just comes down to what your passion is. And if you are seeing your job as a truly 9-to-5, you're going home not thinking about your work and what you're doing, and you're not enjoying it, that shouldn't really be what you're doing. And that's okay. Like that trial and error, that finding, oh, I thought I wanted to code, I'm at this job, I hate what I'm doing, I'd rather look into this, or I'm a designer, I want to learn how to code more. Like as long as that passion is there and that self-drive attitude to keep learning, and just knowing that trial and error is okay. Like just because you didn't like one thing or you want to try another, like you're allowed to do that and change. So
definitely. And that's the beauty of, the tech industry, right? It's ever changing, evolving. And there is a little bit of something for everyone there. So for your own experiences, what do you think has helped you the most in your career? We've talked a little bit about some soft skills like that willingness to learn, but what about some other technical stuff like certifications in addition to those soft skills? So we can kick it right back to Shelby. What are some things that helped you the most, would you say?
So obviously like that soft skill, that self-driven attitude is huge. And there are so many resources online that you can go get these certifications, or you can learn this new coding language. Basically, it's that finding that want that needs to be filled and learning that kind of like if there's a new language that a new client wants, or a client wants this crazy new feature and we don't know how to do it, like having that self-drive to find that way to learn that new language, because you can virtually pretty much learn anything in tech with little to no cost. Which is yes, these certifications are out there that will give you those opportunities that will cost a little bit of money. But if that's not something you want to completely commit to at first, while you're still in that learning period, just go on a website, Google, how do I do that? Google will be your best friend. That is the big thing I've learned is working in tech. It's that free resource, and you literally have all that knowledge at your fingertips. It's just getting that first jump into really diving in, and you'll find really quick you're going to get into a big wormhole of tech, and because it can go so many ways. So that's just been a big thing that has helped me, and just always be curious. Obviously, it's a huge thing. So
definitely. What about you, Brittany? What's been that's helped you the most?
I think so. I kind of take two different routes with this one. So I am totally an advocate for the soft skills. I will be one that promotes learning, wanting to learn, having that drive. I am the go-getter. I am that. That is me. Literally, you look up the definition, it says Brittany. You can ask anybody in my company. But I think at the same time, going through college and getting certifications that I have, it's prepared me to where I need to go. So for the college specifically, I feel like I actually learned how to do my soft skills better in that environment. And I know that it seems silly because I graduated with 2 degrees and I spent a lot of time. I'm obviously going for my master's. It means a lot to me to have that. But the knowledge and the working with people and figuring out really who I want to be and how I want to use whatever outcome I'm getting, whether in this case degree or a certification, in the future, I think is the biggest thing for me and how I've gotten to where I am now. So now I'm here with 5 or 6 certifications, almost 3 degrees, but I still am wondering what's next. That is just kind of in my mindset. So.
Yeah, and I think that mindset really fits with technology as an industry, right? Just what's next, because it is always changing and evolving. Jessie, what's helped you the most, would you say?
I think sometimes people worry about what the right language is to learn, or the right framework, or the right type of development. And I'd encourage people not to worry so much about that. They're all useful, they're all good. And your core strength as a developer is really how quickly you can learn the next thing. And sometimes I see paralysis on should I learn Python or C#? And it's well, learn a little bit of both and see what you can take away from them. I'd also encourage people that it could seem like so much complexity when you think about software and all the things that there are to learn. And that can be overwhelming too. But if you take it one step at a time, that can really help. You just need to learn the next thing in front of you, and you don't need to learn it all today. I do think that your ability to collaborate is really what creates the ceiling for you in your career. So how well you can create alignment on a team, how well you can manage conflict, how well you can create a vision for a better place, a better future, and get people moving in that direction, that can really help. So software is not a career where you can essentially reach the heights of it, by yourself alone in an office. It's really all about collaboration when you get further into it. So that's the thing to focus on. I'd also suggest who it really can help a lot. Your network is really important. And I don't think you should have one mentor who's going to guide you through your whole career, but I think it's often helpful to have lots of people that you can ask for perspective, or who can let you know about opportunities out there, or give you some guidance when you feel like you need it. So I'd encourage people to think about those relationships too. Who do you know who could be helpful and get you further down the path?
Yeah, I would agree 100%. I think, people don't realize that Grand Rapids, West Michigan, there's such a thriving IT community with different, user groups that are, maybe focused around, maybe women in tech or cybersecurity. And so, building that network of support that can help you with your goals, whether it's career-wise or skill-wise. And I think another that I'm hearing across the board is communication. You may be elbow deep in code, but if you can't convey what you're doing, communicate to the rest of your team, it's kind of tough to succeed or achieve those goals for that specific project or whatever it is that your team is working on. So the communication, the self-starter, the eagerness to learn, I think those are incredibly important for a career in IT. So thank you all. Okay, now another fun question. What are some common misperceptions, misconceptions about the IT industry that you'd like people to know, hey, that's not necessarily true? And we'll kick it over to Shelby.
Yeah, this is one I get asked a lot because with Bistrom Academy, we're working with these younger kids that really are at square one of their tech careers or their path and going into tech. And our big thing is we bring them into Bistrom's office. And I know that Bistrom and the owners really pride ourselves on our culture and how our workspace is. So it's a very big open space. There's these Lego blocks that are making our offices. We have a fire pole. It's a very fun environment. And we do that. We bring the kids in because we want to show them we aren't these people sitting in a basement, dark and in hoodies and not talking to anybody, just coding away until our eyes are watering, It's a very open and collaborative environment, and it's fun and exciting, and it's changing. Like we've been saying, every day is something new, and that environment with the people you're with and working with these people coding together or working on this design or this new marketing thing, it's a very fun space, and doesn't feel like a 9-to-5. It's a very fun environment to be in. And I just want to show everybody that with tech being such a low bar to get involved in the community, it's a very rewarding community to be in. So I think that's pretty cool. Like, yes, obviously the schooling and getting there is very important, but just to get a taste of it, anybody can go into a dev shop and just say, hey, what are you guys working on? Like, I know Bistrom, obviously pre-COVID times, was very open to having people come in the office and just be like, hey, I'm going to work in here today with you guys and just sit along with you and see what's going on. So very open and collaborative.
Yeah, I think that's a big misconception, that you're in a dark, scary place, all alone with your screen, clacking away. Brittany, any misperceptions you'd like to dispel?
Yeah, so I think Shelby took my big one. That's usually the first thing I tell students, honestly, when I'm teaching students, like, I don't know where I know where they're seeing all these things, YouTube commercials and what their experience is, but that is not the IT world. And I would say, even going back to Jesse's point a little bit, like, one of the big misconceptions is that you can come in and you can sit behind a computer and go home and you can be successful. I think there's so much more into talking to people, being a part of a team. I know that a lot of people think that computer science is a one-person thing. You sit, you do your job, you go home. It's not the case. I also would like to, disprove the idea that you may be further along in your career. You may be in 20 years someplace else. You may be somewhere down the line. And a lot of people think like, oh, I can't transfer to technology because I don't have this, or I'm not smart enough, which I've heard. I don't have this experience. Like, none of those things should ever be said, because technology is such a place where you can jump in, take your experiences from someplace else, apply them in a role in technology, and be successful. Like, you don't need to be worried about that. So I think it's kind of just encouraging people, hey, you can come do this. Don't let the fear of failure stop you from doing something like this. So.
Oh, that's great advice. Absolutely. Jesse, any myths you'd like to dispel as well?
Did we take them all? I'm so sorry. I think we may have took a lot of them.
You hit the ones at the top of my list. I think that, like, sometimes people feel like they don't have the skill, they don't have the strengths to succeed, or they wouldn't enjoy the work. And I encourage everyone to give it a shot, and maybe they'll find that they enjoy it more than they think. But the one other one I would say is that sometimes there's an expectation that the industry is full of egomaniacs who are super competitive with each other and just sit around conference rooms insulting each other through the course of a day or something. I don't know. I think there are probably pockets of that exist, but I think there are a lot of companies where folks are super collaborative and really excited to help each other learn and grow, and really aware of the fact that there's kind of an infinite amount of technology to learn these days, and that everyone is at a different place on their path. And so I'd encourage people to search out, cultures that are more friendly and helpful and looking to be good environments to learn and grow together.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think those are all misperceptions that people have about tech. They watch TV shows and movies and they see the hacker that's just, busting into someone's system. And yeah, no, it's much more collaborative, and there are a lot of positive environments and cultures, workplace cultures. And I think I've had the pleasure to be at everyone's space, and you all have great buildings, great spaces, windows with light, so no dark basements, and really, really great company cultures, all of you. So I think that's another myth that hopefully this will shed some light on for some folks. So I just have a couple of more questions and then we can wrap up. So, if you could just distill it down, why should someone consider a career in technology, and how do they get started? So we can go right back to Jesse.
Yeah, I'd say someone should consider it because you can do really interesting work. You can solve really meaningful problems for people. And regardless of what your personal passions are, you can probably find a company that's working in that space and a job where you can help move the world to a place that you want it to be. And I think that's really powerful. You can have a huge effect in software. And I forget the second half of the question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, nope, just how should someone get started?
Oh, yeah. There are a lot of different ways. Certainly different companies are looking for different things and all have a different set of requirements to get in the door. So one way to get started that I encourage people to do is sort of explore who's out there and see what kind of jobs there are and what kind of companies you might be interested. Talk to those people, ask for their time, and work backwards from what those particular companies are looking for, because every company is looking for different things.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. All right, Shelby, what do you think?
Yeah, along the lines of what Jessie said, like, it's just, you can take the career wherever you want, and it's not a linear thing. There's not steps you have to hit at every point. There's not these milestones. They're milestones you make for yourself, however far you want to take your job, which I really liked, because when I was in tech, when I was starting, I had no idea I was even working with technology. And then I just slowly put the pieces together of what I wanted my path to look like. And it didn't mean it has to stay that way. Like I said, I'm doing the design work now, and I could completely change one day and go to our IT guy and be like, hey, I want to learn how you do cybersecurity stuff. You know, like, it's a very, again, collaborative, open career path. And then you can literally take it as far as you want to. And yeah, I also forgot what you said the second part was. To get so caught up in that first part. Oh, you're muted.
There we go. Yep, the second part is just how to get started.
Oh, yeah. So even, the first step, again, just Googling, seeing what's out there, like, hey, I want to solve this problem. How do I make this? How do I recreate Twitter? How do I make this app? Like, and there will be resources there for you. And then if you decide that's something you want to dive into even more, like Jessie said, reach out to who's in the area, go to meetups. There's plenty of like free meetups you can go to. I know I sat down with a lot of people. I would just email and be like, hey, do you want to grab a cup of coffee and talk about your job and like what you do? And it was a really good way to not only like work on my communication skills when I was younger, but to really figure out what was in my community and what I could do at these different places.
Yeah, I think Meetup as a website, meetup.com, is highly utilized. It is, there are all different kinds of meetups. So I definitely think that's a great resource. And
I know a big one. Sorry, I forgot this part. For students too, like, talk to your counselors and your teachers. Like Jessie said, it's who you know and who you can connect with. I guarantee some of them will have resources or someone to connect you with, like teachers at GVSU. If you're in the West Michigan area, they'd be more than happy to talk to you about that stuff as well.
Yeah, great. All right, Brittany. So as a recap, why should someone consider a career in technology, and then how do they get started?
Yeah, so starting with the first one, I think they kind of covered it really. So, I mean, technology is what you make technology to be. Technology is not necessarily all about computers or anything like that. Coming into this digital age, technology is growing and expanding and being really whatever you want to define it as. So I know a lot of us on the call are focused on that software development. Well, that's just one side of IT and one side of technology. So, you know, there's security, there's all these things. So I would encourage, like, enter the IT world with an open mind, because you'll never know what you're going to find. And I feel like I'm, proof of that. I started out as a developer. I really have art as a passion. I went to be a designer for a while. And then I was like, no, what I've always wanted to be since I was little was a teacher. How do I get down that path and combine it with technology? And now I'm in a coaching position. And now I'm teaching certification courses. I'm doing all these things that I never thought would be possible with a IT job. And here I am. So don't be afraid, just take the leap, I would say, is the big thing about that. The second thing of how you kind of get started, I think what Shelby and Jessie said are all accurate things. You can easily start in technology just by researching and Googling things if you want to learn certain skills. The biggest thing that I would encourage is job shadow. And I don't care if you are established a career and you have kids and a family. If you just are interested in learning about somebody else's job and their role, figure it out that way. I also would say, wrapping around to that culture conversation, that's a great way to figure out, is this culture going to fit me? What cultures do I like? Do I want a small business kind of like Bistrom, a really small? Or for me at Spectrum Health, it's the largest company ever. Do I enjoy that? Like, let me see where I fit in as a person, to make me feel, one, valued as an employee, but also enjoy what I do. So I would say that's the biggest one, no matter where you are in your career, job shadowing or being a part where, can I see what you do on a daily basis, is the best route to get entered into that.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's excellent advice. And, you know, for the participants of this particular youth program, you know, we're working with great companies right here. And, you know, so we have a whole network of employers that we can work with to say, hey, would you be willing to open your doors once COVID is, you know, contained, you know, and do some job shadowing and a day in the life of a developer or, you know, someone on your cybersecurity team or something, you know, just to kind of, start just getting a taste of, okay, day in the life. This is what it's like. This is what, you know, they're working on. This is how they're working with other teams. So yeah, I think all of that was excellent advice on how to get started. So doing your research, you know, looking into companies, and then, asking questions, connecting with your network, your counselors, your, you know, West Michigan Works folks, and just really working that network. I think another resource that has become way more utilized now is LinkedIn. I mean, there are countless of ways to connect with folks in the community. So I highly encourage folks to get that LinkedIn profile created, get it updated, and you never know who you will meet and connect through that way as well. Well, that's it for like the scripted questions. So I guess I'll just kind of open it up if there's anything else anyone would like to share, anything.
I'll just touch on basically, I mean, the common themes have kind of been all touched on here with technology. And I would say overall, age doesn't matter, past doesn't matter. All that matters is like you're finding a career that works for you, and technology is that opportunity for you to do that. Like I work with so many people that have that teaching background, like, and how Brittany wants to switch to teaching, you know, like you start with these different backgrounds, and it doesn't mean because you are older or you're too young, that's not a thing. You can start in tech whenever you want. And especially like being a woman in technology, it is huge that these girls out there know that you can do what these guys are doing. It's not just these guys on TV you see hacking away. Like you can be right there with them coding too. It doesn't matter if you're a girl in this, like, and robotics is a very big thing to look into as well that I wanted to touch on for students. Your robotics team is probably going to be a very great stepping stone if you want to get into technology as well. We work very closely with the robotics teams in Allendale and with all of that, and all just the coding courses you guys can take. There's so many things you guys can do. And I can sit here all day and talk about it, but basically just finding that drive and passion is going to be the first big thing for you.
Yeah, I would say even to take that a step further, kind of just reiterating what you said, because I think it's so important for people to hear this. Technology, do not discriminate on age. I don't care what your pronoun is. You're welcome in technology, and technology is always going to be a place for you. You know, don't have the fear just because who you are, you don't believe fits in technology. No, technology fits everybody, and we can promise that and make sure that's happening. So I would say just encourage, come join us. I don't want anybody to feel like they can't do it because of something or some reason of who they are or the way they identify. Like that is not, you don't need to be worried about that. Jesse, you're the Lone Ranger. You're the one left.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what hasn't been said and what would be useful. I would say that, you know, a lot of people maybe just don't see themselves in the industry or just don't think it would be something that they would enjoy. And that suggestion to job shadow, I think, is a really, really great one. And ask people if you can just stop by and visit the office. And a lot of companies will be happy to make that happen. And getting that firsthand view into who's here in West Michigan, what their workspace is like, I think can give you a really different perspective on the industry and a better sense of what it might actually be like to work in some of these places and what kind of work companies are doing. So I'd really encourage people to, give it a shot if you have any interest, or just try some tutorials, try a little bit of web development, see if you like it. You might surprise yourself. It might be more interesting than it seems from the outside.
Yeah, thank you all. Just really great insight. And, I think you're absolutely right. Tech is for everyone, all walks of life, all different ages, ethnicities. I mean, it's for everyone. And what I have found working with tech companies and folks like yourselves, you are so willing to give back to the community and, show how welcoming the industry is and can be and how supportive, and I think if people are looking to get started, there are tons of boot camps that are little to no cost. There are freebies out there and, a lot of self-paced trainings out there that you can, get your feet wet and just kind of see. So I highly encourage everyone watching this video to jump in, give it a try, and there's something out there for everyone in the tech industry. All right, I want to thank all of our panelists. Thank you for our guest. And, thank you all so much for your insight today. Greatly appreciate it. And I'm sure I'll be seeing you all very soon.
All right, thanks, Anne.
Thank you.